Hey, hooray! My name is Michael, also known as Mana Key Bearer on YouTube, Facebook, and all forms of social media. On YouTube, it's a little bit different. It's Mana Space Key Bearer. Everywhere else, it is Mana Key Bearer altogether. Today, we're going to actually be reading the secret reports. We do have all 13 of them after fighting the battle gate sequences, and today I'm just going to go over reading them, and then maybe later on, after I've dissected them and really digested all the content that's in them, maybe do a video on them as to where we think maybe the series may be going from here. Right now, I haven't even looked at these, haven't touched them. I wanted to get them all before I did it. I did see videos of people actually collecting them, but I wanted to collect them myself, just for my own, obviously, satisfaction, because I'm just so in love with this series. So let's begin. We're going to do Secret Report number 1. So the first one says, Recollections. Am I alive? I awoke in a cell, alone, until the researchers came with their tests and their prodding to uncover my identity. I had no answer to offer them. 4 friends, and a key. That is the sum total of my memory. I could not even recall my name. I was simply called X. There. My only solace was the time I spent talking with the 2 boys who would visit from time to time. One day, a man came to take me from the prison. I could not see him for the darkness, save that he wore an eye patch. Even now, years on, I feel no closer to understanding who or what I am. May my heart be my guiding key. Okay, interesting. And it's signed unknown. Apologize if maybe some of my reading is off. Do see, I mean, could this be Xigbar? Is that who that he's referring to? That's my only thought on there. Is it Xigbar, or is it the person that found Xigbar and the person that eventually he takes over their body? You never know. Let's move on to the next one. Secret Report number 2. Mark of Mastery Journal. Some days have passed since I set off on my journey to prepare for the Mark of Mastery examination. Ericus asked for leave to undertake the same privilege, but apparently I am to be the first to tour the world written of in the old fairy tales. Until a few short years ago, I'd known only my own world, a speck of land surrounded by sea. But how I dreamed of yearning for the world beyond, and granted guidance from the future. I left the nest behind. As I treaded the path to my master's side, I came in contact with darkness in many forms. I knew even then, as by instinct, terrifying as its power was, it could be harnessed, mastered. Ericus is a blue blood, descended from the very first masters in the age of fairy tales. But I did not come this far to indulge in adulteration. I will be his peer, his equal, and to do that I must learn to wield the power born from both darkness and light in proper balance. Xehanort. Okay, so we know that this is Xehanort, obviously, and we learned that an individual who is a descendant of the Age of Fairy Tales is known as a Blue Blood. That's something different. Let us continue to report number 3. Experiment of the Heart. Notes on Subject X. Excerpt 1. Subject was found in the central square shortly after dawn. Female, approximately 15 years old. After 7 days' observation, she spoke her first words, but could not provide a name. Subject exhibits signs of profound amnesia and displays concern about which world this is. Her words suggest that she departed her home world with others, though she cannot recall the names of erstwhile companions. All efforts to explore those memories have met with a rejection response. After his initial experiment on me, Ansem the Wise ceased his research into the heart. His hand stayed by some fear I cannot fathom. Yet this new subject is like me, devoid of memories. She is the perfect sample upon which to continue my master's work. She too could benefit from it. By traversing the heart, we have a direct path into memory. I myself have begun to reclaim my lost past thanks to these very experiments. Who is she? Whence has she come? These are questions no scientist could ignore. And the words she muttered, "May your heart be your guiding key, Xehanort." I'm thinking that this may be how they met Larxene. But that's just my opinion based on what I'm reading and based on what I know about the series as a whole. To me, it sounds like it possibly is Larxene after she lost her heart. I mean, that's just my first initial opinion. My opinion could change later, but as of right now, that's my first interpretation. This is report number 4. This is report number 4. Experiment of the Heart. Notes on Subject X. Excerpt 2. Subject's memories have not returned, and our conversations remain less than lucid. What fragments can be gleaned, invoked, of the gone world, like one out of a fairy tales? As improbable as it seems, the question may not be where she has come from, but when. If she truly has crossed through time, the prospect of probing her heart is all the more compelling. My pilot studies used a handful of subjects, but none possessed the fortitude to endure them. Ultimately, all suffered mental collapse. I knew it would be a heavy blow to lose a subject as unique as she. Upon discovering the tests I've been conducting, my master demanded that I cease my work immediately and destroy what research I have compiled. Worse still, he ordered the release of my remaining subjects. She is gone. Where is Subject X now? Has wise Master Ansem hidden her away? Whatever the case, I will not be deterred. I will take her place as the first subject in the grand experiment to come. Xehanort. This is number 5. Memoirs, Excerpt 1. That castle was a wonderland to us as children. Within its walls, Ansem the Wise conducted his research, and the fruits it bore allowed everyone outside to live in peace and happiness. That alone was enough to stoke our interest, though not all of the rumors that escaped its walls were so benevolent. By night, the muffled sounds of human wails emerged. There was talk of dangerous human experiments, or experimentation. Lee and I could not help but hatch a plot to steal inside and state our curiosity. The two who stood guard at the gates were researchers themselves, though you wouldn't think it to see them, massive and barrel-chested as they were, and slipping past that duo was only the first hurdle. It proved one not easily cleared. We were found and tossed out on our ears, time and again. On the day we finally secured our entry, we descended the long spiral stair at the heart of the castle to find a dark space below it, lined with cages. There wasn't light enough to see if they were inhabited, and we were in no position to call out to any occupants within. Yet we could feel it, a definite presence. There in the black, terror washed over us, and we immediately regretted coming. But just as we turned to flee, we heard the faintest voice. The urge to run was nigh, overpowering. But someone or something beckoned us on. There, framed by a tenuous silver light, we found her. Syax. Okay, so that's Syax, obviously. Let's keep going. Number 6, Memoir Excerpt 2. It was too dim to make out her features. We spoke to her in hushed whispers. Who was she? Why was she imprisoned here? She had no answers for us, had no memories at all. She was an enigma, but I knew I wanted to help her. And so we continued our infiltrations. Most of them stopped short at the castle gates. When we did manage our way inside, we spoke with her. That was all the comfort 2 children like us could offer. But Lee had other ideas. He was determined to free her. We slipped into the castle that day, knowing only that we wanted, with our hearts, to save her. But we did not find her inside on that day, or the next, or any of our subsequent visits. Had she been moved? Had we simply imagined her? Lee and I knew there was only one way to be certain, and so we stand before the castle gates today, not as trespassing children, but in order to become Amson the Wise's newest apprentices. Okay. On the replica program and reanimation. Following my erasure and my recompletion as a human, I did not awaken right away. Perhaps the damage was exponentially grave. Even after waking, I remained in bed, pondering my next course of action. In my work on the replica program for the organization, I produced some 20 vessels. Most of the early results were failures, not one of them granted a number. The first success to emerge from that early lot was the Riku replica. Subsequently, Shion, number 1, was essentially indistinguishable from a natural human, though she became unstable due to the influence of others. Using those 2 as my foundation, I worked to construct a number of nigh-perfect replicas, but just as they neared completion, my efforts were cut short. I suspect Xehanort aims to use both the initial lot as well as the unused replicas from my later work. I arose today and decided to walk out to the square, my first outing in some time. Yet my stroll was interrupted when a surprising visitor appeared with an unexpected offer. Though younger than me, he'd risen to become Xemnas' right hand. I accepted his terms and became a nobody. Once more, easier to gain access to the old replica program that way. Whatever it takes to atone, Vexen. Alright, report number 8. The real organization. Xehanort seeks to gather 12 vessels, which, together with his true actual self, he considers the real organization. Mission 13. Now that he has the numbers he needs, Demix and I are being treated as reserves. Several others who served Xemnas in the old organization have followed the same course as mine, electing to abandon their newly restored humanity and rejoin the real organization as nobodies. But not Xemnas. Xemnas cannot exist in the present because there is already a Xehanort here. The old man in charge. The old man's humanity presents his heartless and nobody. Others vanquished in the past, and his younger self from being denizens of this time. To circumvent this, Xehanort is using the prototype replicas I recreated in the past as containers, plucking his other selves' hearts from the time they existed. Xehanort ordered me to refine the prototypes, to make them closer still to the real thing, perfecting my creations so that they may house true flesh and blood. Human suits my own purpose as well. All that remains for my atonement is to devise a way to pass on as many of the vessels as I can to those who truly deserve them. Vexian. Alright, so we're going to continue. Obviously, I mean, some of these I'm not actually reading like who wrote them because I personally can tell, and if you've played the game and finished it, you know who's talking. Like, we all know who makes the Riku and the replicas in general. It's always Vexian. But, you know, anyways, we're going to continue to Secret Report number 9. Ansem Code. Conspectuous? I'm not sure if that's how you say it. Excerpt 1. I have pored over the data my master entrusted to Riku. Here I offer my preliminary conclusions. Within Sora's heart are 3 compartmentalized boxes, each containing the heart of another. One box holds Roxas. Another holds a second heart that has been with Sora nearly as long. The third has held its heart for much longer. These hearts have melded with Sora's and are no longer have voices of their own. Any attempt to mechanically extract them could prove as dire for Sora as what caused him to become a Heartless in the first place. First, a vessel for each heart must be readied. Then, a spark of some sort is required to induce its waking. Obviously, the ideal solution is to restore each heart to its own body, but whatever the case for the 2 unknown individuals, Roxas possesses no such thing. The same is true for Naminé, who we believe resides in Kairi's heart. Still, if alternate bodies can be secured for them, all their hearts require to be awakened is the spark, people they cared for and who cared for them, who can show them the way home. Complete and perfect digitalizations of the heart is impossible. We can only hope to partially reconstruct it. Thus, I see no way forward but to extract the hearts we so desperately need directly from within Sora. Fortunately, the data stored in Twilight Town contains a nearly perfect record of the memories of those who lived there, and for Roxas and Naminé especially, this is crucial. Alright, so that was Ienzo. We're gonna go to the next one. I mean, nothing in these secret reports are really like anything like shocking, mind-blowing. Honestly, a lot of it is stuff that we learned throughout the story of Kingdom Hearts 3, if you've played. We'll continue here. Ansem Code, Conspectuous, Excerpt 2. As for how to contain their hearts, the only conceivable option is the replicas. If we transfer in the digital memories from the Twilight Town archive, the replicas should be able to reconstruct each individual's human appearance, with near-perfect results. Then, their hearts need only the right spark to wake them, so they may find their way out of Sora and Kairi and into those into those newly made bodies. The replica program was truly revolutionary, but it was incomplete at the time of the old organization's dissolution. Within Evan, how are we to further the research? We need at least 3 replicas, one for Roxas, one for Nominate, and one for the unknown stowaway within Stora's heart. These are difficult quandaries, but as I work through my master's data, I find myself remembering the taste of ice cream. When I was a boy, he would bring me some when we took walks together. There will be a time to regret my betrayal later. For now, my focus must be on restoring Roxas and Nominee, and proving my master had good intentions, Ienzo. Alright. Next report is report number 11. Observations, Excerpt 1. I have seen it through. The Keyblade War unfolded exactly as written on the lost page. Now the Keyblade the Master entrusts to me must be bequeathed to another. 5 Union leaders have been chosen from the surviving Dandelions. I will pass the Keyblade to one of them, and then continue watching the future unfold. Yet it seems that someone has pulled the old switcheroo. One of the 5 is an imposter. Someone the Master did not choose. They represent a virus in the program he so carefully wrote. The virus has begun a strange undertaking, a reckless plot to allow the 5 to escape into another world line. Surely such a thing can't be possible. We're talking about the same trick that allowed the Dandelions to transfer to another world line from after the Keyblade War. But these children are no masters. They haven't the means, unless, of course, a certain lady of magic summoned here from the future knows more than I do. The whole Union Leader thing was supposed to be by the books. Are these new events just another phase in the Master's grand plan? Now, this one's an interesting one. This one I really kind of want to print out right now and really dissect it to figure out what everything is. Who's the individual that he didn't pick? I think the individual he didn't pick, if I recall, was Lorem, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll continue reading. Observations, Excerpt 2. Even on a world line with no Keyblade War, peace is but a dream. In the absence of us and our master, a darkness arrived, one that should surely lead the world to yet another demise. Amid the chaos, I bequeathed my Keyblade to one of the Union leaders, just as the master instructed. I watched as the 5 were sent to another world line at no small cost, ensuring that the line of the Keyblade wielders will live on. And now, Keybladeless, I must depart this land to fulfill my final task. This means casting my own body aside and sondering my heart in vessel after vessel as many times as it takes. But I will continue gazing upon each passing era, one unto the next. In time, be it years or decades, centuries or millennia, I will meet the 5 once more. Somewhere in this cyclical history of bequeathings, a chosen one will appear and reenact the Keyblade War. When this scapegoat arrives and takes my Keyblade in hand, that will be the time to take the stage and finish my role. The lost masters will awaken. Unknown. So who's the one who took his key? Are they talking about... So are they talking about Master Xehanort, or are they talking about... I'm guessing he's talking about Master Xehanort. But who did he give the key to? That's my question. Out of the 5 people, who did he give it to? That's the question. It's Observations Excerpt 3. It seems this body, this name will be my last. The lives I have lived over the ages could fill volumes, but for now, I must focus on what matters most. The Keyblade has been successfully passed down, generation to generation, and it seems a Keyblade master devoted to the darkness may finally arise. Until now, I have watched over the course of events from a distance. Perhaps the time has come to intervene. I need only play the role of a foolish desertess of the Keyblade's power. I will don the mask of his ally in order to keep watch over my Keyblade from close by. The Gazing Eye. A Keyblade forged from the eye of the Master of Masters. He passed it to me, as I have to others, and through it he can see the future, all that will ever come to pass, spanning the ages in body after body, life after life. My task has been to keep vigil over the eye as it passes from hand to hand. It has been a long time, longer than I can express. But now, at last, the Keyblade War has begun, and Kingdom Hearts will open. A true and complete Kingdom Hearts, born of the clash between darkness and light. I will soon be reunited with my old companions, and in that moment, my long vigil will reach its end. He will return, unknown. So, basically, these secret reports are basically cataloging the events of Kingdom Hearts 3 from what's going to happen in the future Kingdom Hearts series. It gives us some of an indication on what the Master of Masters was actually planning, why Lucio did some of what he did. It doesn't give us the full story, but it does give us some of what Lucio was instructed to do. And I think maybe that's what he meant, like, it's a long story, and then we got these battle gates and all these things. Maybe these secret reports are possibly the story he tells the foretellers at the end of the epilogue. That's a possibility, that this is actually the story he tells them, or what exactly happened. Because I remember at the end they say, how did you get here? Why did you summon us? Basically, they say in a roundabout way, but in the way that it almost seems like he summoned him back from the dead. That's what my interpretation of what they said was. I mean, some people think that they summoned him from the past. Some people think that maybe it was from a different dimension. All of those are great theories. Not going to say that I don't disagree, but I also have a theory that it could possibly be that actually Lucio summoned them back from the dead because of how he says it. I'm definitely thinking of doing a video on that. I mean, I really can't articulate what I'm saying right now because I haven't really done all the research. I want to kind of look through it, make sure that my argument sounds great, but just the way he said it didn't seem like they came from the past to me. It almost seemed like they were dead and he actually got them from the world that Sora went to, where he met the Cherokee. That's the way I interpreted it, just based on the way he said it. And also, what kind of backs that up is the whole how people can travel through time in Kingdom Hearts. You have to actually have your physical body in that location, so you can never travel back to the past that you never ever existed, but you can travel forward if you have like a part of your body in the world. So I mean, maybe they are from the past. At least that's my interpretation. I mean, I need to really look into time travel in the Kingdom Hearts universe, because it's confusing. Let's be honest. Kingdom Hearts is a confusing subject in general, but my understanding was that like you couldn't go to the past unless you had a body or your body was there, but you can travel into the future possibly. So maybe they can travel to the future because of the fact of that law. I mean, it could be that they're traveling from the past to the future, or maybe the age of, or the time of fairy tales is a completely different. Something in the way they spoke made it seem like they died and he summoned them. But I think before I actually make that determination, I think I need to do a little bit of research on that video, do a little bit of research on time travel in the Kingdom Hearts universe, because it's a very complex topic and I'm not sure if I fully understand it myself. My understanding was, now that I think about it, you couldn't travel into the past, but you could travel into the future. And the only way you could travel into the past is if yourself had like a body in the past. So that's why Xehanort could travel into the past. But as far as the future, anybody can travel to the future as far as they want to. So I mean, it's plausible maybe they aren't dead. Maybe they travel to the future because, you know, they can. But anyways, we just completed the secret report reading, and it is now 8:20, which is around the time I stopped streaming. So I'm going to stop streaming for the night, and, you know, hopefully you enjoyed watching me reading the secret reports for you. Please remember to add me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, any form of social media platform. It's Manakibera all together in most platforms, except for YouTube. YouTube, it's Mana Space Keybearer. As always, stay beautiful and have a great night. Bye.